My name's Cody Keller, and I've been starting colts for the last 24 years, and I started when I was 15. I'm 40 now. Can't believe I'm 40, but I am. But so I've kind of spent my whole life doing this pretty much full time. I got a cow-calf operation, have about 80 cows, and train horses. That's kind of my lifestyle, and it's been good. I can't say I've got a whole bunch of bank money in my account, but it's a good lifestyle. I've never had to clock into a real job and enjoy what I do. How I started out is I was 15 years old in school. School was always a pretty big challenge for me. I never got along to, never got the best grades, and always had troubles. And so I got my first horse, and this horse would fuck me off every day. And I don't know why, but I kept getting back on. And I bet this horse broke my arm twice in the summer. Broke this one, it got better, and he broke it again. And I don't know why my parents just let me keep riding. I don't really understand that looking back, but I kept riding this horse all summer, and I would get so mad. I thought the horse was bucking me off, beat me. I'd beat this horse, and I would say I'd cuss up a storm. I'd be so mad at this horse, and it just really got to me. And because school was I failed a lot in school, so I'd go to school and try to do something and get the big fat F on my paper every time. I try to do this, I fail. I get a horse, I fail. I fail. It was this stinks. And it was probably a few years later, we had a mare that had a colt, and my dad gave me the colt. And like they always say, that's kind of not the greatest thing to do, is give your kids a colt to start out on. But that's what I got. So anyway, and my mom got me a John Lyons book for Christmas, and I wasn't the best reader, so I had to read the page 100 times to actually comprehend it. But I wanted to get this. I wanted to figure this out. And so I ended up starting that horse, and I remember the first time I put the saddle pad on his back, I thought that I really did something. I'm like, holy cow, this horse just stood here. This colt stood here. I actually put this on, and probably for 2 weeks, I threw this pad on and off, on the right, on the left. That's what the book said. And same thing with the saddle. I did that to on the right, on the left for about a month probably, and then same thing with the bridle. I got where he could put his head down on the ground and bridle him and done all this stuff, and you can about imagine how that made me feel. It felt like I was getting somewhere, wow, look. Even though a lot of people would look at it oh, big deal. He got a saddle pad on his horse and a saddle. But to me, that was huge. And I found out working with the people, it's kind of the same way. Whether it's you haven't cantered your horse for the first time and you work at it and you finally canter that horse, how good that feeling is that you accomplished. You accomplished something that you're probably fearful of, a little bit worried, but you had enough courage to do it. And then you got through it, and everything, all worked out, and that builds your confidence. And that's kind of what my program is, a lot of confidence. With my horses, I strive for ranch horse versatility, a horse that can do everything, can ride outside, go down through the trees, gather cattle, pony the colts, work the colts off of, reining maneuvers. I love reining maneuvers, because that's the ultimate control of a horse. If your horse can do reining patterns and reining, they can go run barrels and do all kinds of things, because you have all of the control of the horse's body parts. And I do the clinics, or I do 1-2 day. I do a 4-day clinic every year, and that's probably my favorite clinic, where people come to my place and spend 4 days, bring their horse, and it's always just so much fun. It's one I look forward every year, and when it's over, it's dang it, I wish it wasn't over, because it's so much fun. And I also do where people can come. My place, just bring your own horse, one person, do 3 sessions a day for usually 3. Like to have everybody come for at least 3 days. And I like that part of it, because you get to learn with your horse. And sometimes when I train horses for people, it's kind of between this horse and me, this is A, B. Me and the A and B can do great together, and I can build a good partnership with that horse. And A and B does good. We can get things jiving really quick, and everything's awesome. But when B steps out and says, okay, I'm done training it, now it's yours, it's A and C. See ya, I'm out. And then that can be troubles right there. They're going to have troubles, maybe getting upset because something's not going right, but that's where their responsibility is, to pick up and have knowledge to be able to go on with the horse. But when I go to start colts, and I could teach techniques after techniques after techniques, but then, and be able to start a colt, you have to have a lot of leadership skills. You have to be brave and confident. A horse can read every little detail you do, every motion, every body language you do. A horse catches on. He knows when you don't know. And there's sometimes, even if you're a little unsure, don't act like you're unsure. Act like you know what you're doing. And really step in there, be confident, keep your head up, walk up, pep that horse, whatever it is. But be really confident around your horses. And confidence is just a huge thing for people, because when you feel safe on your horse, it's just so much better feeling rather than getting on your horse and just hoping to get through it and maybe having negative thinking that you just think something bad's going to happen the whole time you get on. I see that sometimes, where just get on, I'll just do it. And I don't like it to be that way. You should be able to get on and enjoy your horses. That's why we have horses to have fun with. Also, fear, just like us, fear is a big one where people just have that mindset of worrying about their horse, what's going to happen, and always say have a little more courage than fear. And one of the biggest things that I told myself probably 10 years ago is I used to get on these colts for the first time, and you know, you get those little nervous bugs in your gut. You're like, yeah, you kind of get on there a little bit on eggshells because you're just going to see what's going to happen. I said, okay, I'm sick of feeling this way. So if I'm going to get on and ride, I'm going to get on and do it. I'll be brave and confident, and I could get bucked off, and I could get on, be scared and timid, still hit the ground. So I thought, you know what, if I'm going to get up here in the seat, in the saddle, I got one choice. Do it. Don't look back. You go for it. Don't wait for something what the horse is going to do. I take the lead. I take the lead and say, listen here, horse, you listen up here because my life is on your back and you better listen. And that's where I have to be firm sometimes. That horse puts in a pump in his back or whatever it may be. I have to take charge and get a hold of that horse and grab me some control really quick before it does get bad. That's a big one. And in the last 10 years, I've been bucked off twice. And I've rode I don't know how many colts, but a lot of them. And that's after I told myself that. And it just goes to show, when you're confident and you're brave, look what happened to me. I quit. I mean, I used to get bucked off, not a lot, but a lot more than that. I got bucked off twice, and it was one lady brought me 2 horses, and both her horses bucked me off. And she was there both of them. One was in a clinic, one was, she come to see how her horse was doing. And I got bucked off both of them. But it was kind of good in the clinic, so much. See, it happens to me too. And a big one when I'm out here talking, I never want to act like I got so much confidence I ever come off arrogant. I'm never out here to act better than anybody else. I'm just a person. I'm just a person that likes horses, and I never want to come off as a know-it-all. And that's part of my program is everybody has knowledge here. I can learn something probably from every one of you. And I will always keep that pretty humble, because that's how I like it to be. Because I've been to clinics before where I've been intimidated or felt what I was going to look like or being judged. And when I do my clinics, I make no judgment on anybody. So when I go to start a session with these horses, I have to have a vision. A vision is a picture in my mind what I want to happen today. What do I want to happen in my first session? What do I want to happen at the end of my session? And you also should have a goal with your horse. In 2 years, what are you working on? Trying to build a reining horse? You trying to build a barrel horse? What are you after? You have to have goals and a picture in your mind of what you want. And same thing with like buying a horse, or you go get a horse. Try to picture in your mind what kind of horse you want. What's it look like? How's it act? That's probably one of the biggest things, because if you get a horse you're really proud of, you're probably going to spend more time with it and enjoy being out there. So we're going to start these horses, and this session here, as you notice, I got 3 of them out here. This Buckskin is my horse. She's been rode, I don't know. She's had a lot of groundwork. I raised her. The reason I got a lot of groundwork on her, because her mom bucked me off so hard and put this big scar on my chin right here. And I mean, she could buck. And I actually took her, Craig Cameron used her in one of his clinics. And I mean, she bucked so hard. And my brother was working for him. And he did his groundwork and everything. He says, all right, my brother's name is Jade. He said, Jade, you want to get on? He's like, yeah, I'll get on. He's probably 19, 20. He's like, heck yeah, we used to ride everything, you know. So he gets on there, and I mean, she comes unglued. She goes to bucking and squalling, and he's staying on. Pretty soon, he's like way down here, and he says, all right, everybody tell Jade to sit up. I don't know how he did it, but he popped back up on there, and he was sitting on her neck. And he goes, that'd be a good time to get off. I'm like, nice. Now, I get to take her home. And so I took her home. I actually rode her 90 days, had her actually going pretty good. Then she had about 2 weeks off. My dad's like, hey, we got to get cows moved. And it was like the only one I kind of had started. So I'm like, all right. Saddled her, moved her around. She did great. Got on, was out running, going through the pasture. And my brothers were ahead of me. We was just trotting. I was like, she's just going to pop right in that canter. We're going to be fine. Well, she didn't pop in the canter. She buried her head, and she went to bucking. I don't know. I think my chin hit between her ears or whatever, and I got up and blood everywhere. And anyway, my brother's like, can you get back on, ride her back to the house? I said, nope, I'm never riding her again. He's like, you got to ride your horse to get back on, don't you? I said, no, you can write me off. I'm not a cowboy. I'm not riding that horse ever again. And I never did. Cut and dried. But I did this silly thing, and I bred her. Because I had spent a lot of money to get this mare. I spent an expensive stud fee. Nobody's going to buy her like that anyway. So I thought, heck, let's breed her. So I bred her, and so far, that one's been really good. She's got a pretty decent mind, but she can still kind of maybe buck a little bit, not nothing like her mama. I kept telling myself, surely that was 15 years ago. I got to be a better trainer than I was then, and surely we can make this better. Then the other two are both 4-year-olds, right? I think so. Yep, they're both 4. These two here. This one's barely halter broke. This one here's the white one's pretty gentle. But I don't know really much about them. But you notice how I put them out here in this arena and they're moving around. So before I start them, I want to move these horses out. I want them to air them out a little bit. Because the horse is designed to go miles and miles and miles. And people keep them in small stalls, small pastures, small paddocks, even like a 30, 40 acre pasture. It's not a very big pasture for a horse. They're used to going everywhere. And I had a couple, well, she would have been a yearling too. I had her out on probably, my dad owns a lot of land, probably 300 acres and just free land. And I'd be on one side of the section, haying cows, and I'd go back around be on the other side of the rock road, and I'd see him again. I'm like, holy cow, look how much these horses travel. They're yearlings, back and forth all over that. And I start thinking about my own horses. I'm like, some of them are in stalls, some of them are in little runs. And you can about imagine how different the horses can be, the ones that are raised in stalls in confinement, and it's not natural. So that's why I'm really a firm believer in like these horses is moving them out, using up some of that energy. It's kind of like desensitizing. You guys probably all know what desensitizing is, I'm sure. If I was just to grab a hold of them horses right now and do that, yeah, obviously they're going to be kind of watchy. But if I air them out a little bit and get them moving around and using themselves, they're going to be a lot easier when I go to do some of that stuff, a lot easier to work with. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to move these horses around. And I like using, at home I never use a round pin. I use a pin like this. Reason for, because I believe a round pin is too small and it's kind of a predator prey, you know, and you're running around them and horses are looking out and there's not enough room for them to run full speed. I like for the horse to run full speed with the saddle for the first time and feel that saddle moving around. And I can do it that way a lot easier than I can in a small round pin. You're going around and around. They go around 10 times and it feels like you've been out there an hour and you went 100 circles and the horse has hardly done anything, but it feels like it because they're right here and you're like round and around and around. I've done a lot of colt starting. I've been in a lot of colt starting competitions. I've always fared pretty good. I've always been right up there in the top. I did the Extreme Mustang Challenge where you get 100 days to train a wild Mustang. The very first year it came out, and it was in a Western Horseman, and I opened that up, and I was like, yo, yeah, this is me, I'm there. So I'm like, I'm doing this. So I did, I got this horse, and I mean, there's people all over the United States coming to this first year. So I'm like, I'll do it, but my confidence is okay. But I was like, there's people everywhere, I don't know how good. I'm just going to go see how good I can do. Wasn't out to try to really kill it and win it. And I went there, and they're supposed to practice a finals at home and see, and so when you get in the top 10 or whatever, you can go out there and show off what your horse can do in the shot at being the winner or whatever, or place. So I got there and did the whole course and everything. I thought I did okay. And so they go announce the top 10, they called my name. I'm like, holy cow. Holy cow, out of 100 and some trainers, I'm in the top 10. I'm like, holy cow, I never knew that I was this good. So you can, you know, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I was pretty proud of myself. I ended up 9th out of the 100. But I was like, I didn't practice a final, so I was digging around the truck trying to find a CD to play because you had to have music. So I'm like, I had like one CD, I think, is what Chris would do. I'm like, perfect. Play it. We're in. But that was awesome. I rode cutting horse. I lived out in Wyoming for about a little over a year. I rode cutting horses, and I had a couple of studs that I traveled with. Took them all these little cutting shows, tried to get mares to breed to them, and that was a lot of fun. They were awesome horses. My brother works for Al Dunning in Arizona, and I've learned a lot of stuff from him. Al, I don't know if you know Al, but he's won 20-some world championships in reining, AQHA, and he's just an awesome person. He's just a super good guy and excellent teacher. So I've learned a lot there too. And I'm a firm believer, like I said, learning something from everybody, going clinics. I'm always striving to get better, and it's kind of what it's all about. So I better get to work and get these horses moved around.